Hey everyone, it's the one and only magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm back at it with another Walking Dead City spoiler review. And like the thumbnail says, oh my goodness, what an ending! I'm not gonna talk about what happened in the ending, but I gotta tell you, I didn't expect it. What happens in the ending, I absolutely did not see it coming, and we will talk about it plus more because we got Maggie, Negan, Croat in the episode, and that's without really getting into the spoilers. So, and I just want to say, if y'all hear anything, I'm currently in my kitchen as I'm recording this, so if you hear if you hear any background noise, that would be the refrigerator running, and then I don't know, Coco, she's somewhere throughout the house, so she might, I'm not saying she's going to, but she might end up coming in here, so if you hear somebody walking, that's her. But anyway, before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. And if you haven't had a chance to check out my two latest videos involving Angry Grandma, that would be Angry Grandma, my reaction to Angry Grandma is not happy with Reddit, and then also another video that was like over an hour and 30 minutes, I want to say, where me and some subscribers of mine had some burning questions for Angry Grandma. Obviously, not the real Angry Grandma, but if you want to know what questions and what responses were said, you should definitely check that out, as it was some surprising results. It was very funny, very interesting, and there's a certain question that I'm going to continue to press her on in a future video. So that'll be happening for sure. So before we get into it, if you like the video, like always, if you like the video, leave a like and leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought about this episode if you would like to. And if you aren't subscribed already, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. And if you want to share the video, that would be great too. If you do any of those things, that would be very much appreciated. Now, for those of you that are not caught up with this episode, I would advise you to go ahead and click off the video and then get caught back up on the episode. And if you want to come back and hear my thoughts on what I thought about this episode, you may do so. Or if you're caught up on the episode, or if you just don't give a damn about spoilers and you want to stick around and hear what I have to say, I thank you so much for sticking around. And for those of you that are leaving now, I thank you so much for your time, and I will catch you next time. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into this spoiler review of the Walking Dead City Season 2, Episode 7, New Day, New Beginning spoiler review. Obviously, when you look up the name of the episode, it's not named that, but I looked up the English translation and this is what it came out to. So, alright, so we're going to get into this spoiler review in 3, 2, 1. So, this episode is not like the worst episode or anything like that. The episode it's good, it's fine. It definitely sets stuff up for the finale, which will be next week. We got some Maggie moments teaming up with the Croat looking for Herschel. That's the whole point of them teaming up in this episode. Then we got Negan trying to find help for Jenny. So, and we're going to get into all of that, and we got a couple of more surprises. I'm not leaving any teases until we actually get there, but if you've seen the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about as as regards to the ending. Okay, here we go. Maggie and Herschel's relationship hit an all-time low in this episode, or no, in the previous episode, when an argument escalated on a physical level and Herschel abandoned Maggie for the Dama, but not without saving her from a bear attack, which was the best part of that episode. Now, in pursuit of her son, Maggie partners with an unlikely ally who puts her on a dangerous trail. Meanwhile, Negan goes on an equally dangerous mission to save Jenny while being haunted by ghosts of his past. Following Negan's advice, Maggie makes it to King Francis Theater, but doesn't find Herschel or the Dama. There lies a depressed Croat sulking in his misery. She threatens to cut off pieces of him, starting with his toe, if he doesn't tell Maggie, okay, where's my fucking son at? You know. Because obviously we know that Croat was the one to cut Herschel's toe off from last season. So yeah, she threatens to cut off pieces of him, starting with his toe, if he doesn't tell her where Herschel is. This is rarely a wild side of Maggie that we don't really see. So this is pretty rare for Maggie. I know she wants like vengeance, and she has a certain type of feeling toward Negan, but she rarely ever like threatens to cut pieces off of somebody, that is kind of interesting. You know what? That makes Maggie a little bit more interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not the biggest fan of Maggie, but that actually does make her a little bit more interesting, though. So, okay, so yeah, that is a wild side of Maggie never seen before. Even more than when she let Gage die and killed all those Reapers in The Walking Dead season 11. Okay, yeah, that's right. He, right at the beginning of season 11, when they was all on that train, I think. I'd have to go back and rewatch season 11, but I'm pretty sure he was stuck and she could have saved him, but she chose not to. But yeah, anyway. Okay, but a mother has to let her feral side. Okay, but a mother has to let out her feral side to protect her child. The Croat genuinely doesn't know where Herschel is, but proposes a partnership to help her find him. I kind of predicted that, as like I did see a little bit of footage of Maggie and Croat together. I was like, the only reason that would make sense is, okay, Croat would obviously know more of the city than Maggie, so she's wanting Croat to help her find Herschel. So, yeah, that's the only way that partnership makes sense, but we'll get a little bit more into that. Jenny's condition has worsened since she passed out in front of Negan in the last episode. The dire situation reminded Negan of his late wife Lucille, who obviously had cancer before and during the early days of the apocalypse. Despite working the machines that were keeping her alive and taking care of her in general, he regrets how awful of a husband he was to her. The tragedy at least gave Negan some medical experience that could help him save Jenny. Well, will it? I don't I don't know. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about it. Rumor has it that from one of the Barazzi, from one of the people that Negan now leads. He is saying that because Benjamin comes in there with some kind of cream for burns or something, so he wants to know where he got that, and Benjamin takes Negan to one of his people, and he says to Negan, that it rumor has it that a nurse hoarded a lot of medicine and supplies in Bellevue Hospital right when the outbreak hit, but anyone who goes looking never comes back. But of course, that's not going to stop Negan, and Negan ain't going to die on a simple run to a hospital. That's just not going to happen, right? Negan is bringing in the views. So, like, I mean, maybe to some extent Maggie is too, but there might be one person I talk to that like them both equally, but a lot more people that I've talked to are watching Dead City for Negan. So, so yeah. All right. So now we're going to go back to Croat and Maggie. The Croat takes Maggie to the room the Dama built for Herschel. Yeah, that elevator. Looking around, she realizes there's so much about her son that she doesn't know. The Croat gets the idea of going to a safe house that only he and the Dama and Herschel knew about, because before he reveals that information, the Croat reveals that, do you know it was your son, Herschel, that offered that willingly let me cut his toe off? Like, what the fuck, Herschel? Like, I don't know if there's we'll talk about it. I don't know if there's no, like, Herschel is indoctrinated, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, the fact that he is like, you want my toe so willingly? Okay, yeah, here you go. You can have my toe. I can live with 9 toes. Like, and this news is too much for Maggie. She is devastated that she doesn't know what to think, and then she is just so tired. She hasn't had a good night's sleep worrying about Herschel all this time. So yeah, that's going to be important, because like she is so overwhelmed to learn that Herschel willingly let the Croat take his toe to give it to Dama. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I don't think that information was revealed until this episode. So then after that, that's when Croat says that there's a safe house that he and Dama only knew about. Then Dama told Herschel about, if the city ever got invaded, he would have somewhere to go. There's a bit of an accessibility problem getting there, though. The safe house is on the top floor of a very tall building, but the bottom floors are wiped out. The only way up is via an unstable bridge. Is on an unstable bridge. So yeah, they got a it's they got a bridge. It has a glass floor. Like, oh my goodness, we will get there. Absolutely. So, the Croat and Maggie make their way up several flights of stairs, avoiding traps set by the Croat on every floor. Her fear of heights starts to take over, or as the Croat puts it, the fear of the compulsion to jump, as he ponders over the origins of this particular fear. She sadly ponders over everyone she's lost in life. She's probably lost more than any character in the Walking Dead franchise. I mean, that is true, because like, even though Rick lost his firstborn son, he still has a family. He has Michonne, which I have to say is a hell of upgrade compared to Lori. He has Judith, which I mean is not really his, but he cares about her like she is his, and then RJ. So even though Rick lost his only son, I mean, he's doing okay compared to Maggie. Maggie is like, no, even though she still has a son, like, his, Herschel's indoctrinated thanks to the Dama and all that, right? So, okay. So, yeah, she's probably lost more than any other character in the Walking Dead universe. Her entire family, her husband, many of her friends, and now maybe her son. Maggie wonders how Herschel made it through himself without setting off one of the traps. Well, we'll get to it. The Croat simply says she underestimates him. Herschel is smart, but on the contrary, he's also been shown to be reckless when emotional. Maggie might have a point here. Outside, now we're going to jump over to Negan and see what he's doing. The outside of Bellevue Hospital is a graveyard full of walkers, but it's eerily quiet inside. And let me tell you. So the supposed supplies that's hidden at the hospital or hoarded at the hospital is on the third floor, the pediatric ward, and there's a scene up there when he gets up there. Oh my goodness, it's like, holy shit, this is creepy as hell, but we'll get there. Okay, so it's eerily quiet inside for a hospital in the apocalypse. This is never a good sign. The upper floors are where the walkers reside in their permanent home. Most of these are likely from the early days of the outbreak, when no one knew any better. Negan finds a child walker. That's right. So let me think. This has got to be maybe the third or fourth example of a child walker in The Walking Dead. We don't get to see it a lot because the first child walker was in the very first episode of The Walking Dead. Then we jump to season 2 with Sophia in the barn. And then this child walker that Negan encounters, I'm going to say 3. I'm trying to think, was there another instance of a child walker in The Walking Dead? Other than those 3 examples that I just gave, maybe there was a season 11 one or a season 10 one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. If I would have watched either one of those seasons, I would have definitely said yes or no, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to go with the walker girl that Rick encounters in the first episode, Sophia, and this child walker. So yeah, Negan ends up coming up, finds a child walker, but he can't kill him because, I guess his rule, his moral code about not wanting to kill kids. But I mean, you know what, Negan, I think you would be able to kill this walker child, and I think a lot of us wouldn't even bat an eye, honestly, because this is no longer a child, dude. It's a walker, right? I don't know. It's like, okay, the walker pushes back, though, causing Negan to trip because he pulls like a little cart in front of him to block so the child walker can't get to him. So yeah, Negan ends up tripping and hits his head on a metal sink. While Negan deals with a gnarly head injury, Maggie feels the intense effects of exhaustion. Yeah, here we go. She likely hasn't had a good night's sleep since she left for Manhattan back in the first episode of this season. The Croat disappears on her as she gets lost in an office space maze full of walkers, growing dizzier by the minute. She finally passes out after catching up with the Croat. So yeah, we're going to get a little bit more of that. Maggie wakes up to the Croat fixing her flashlight and talking about his mother, comparing her to Maggie in a good way. He's finally made a decision on what he's going to do after he wraps things up here. He'll travel to Croatia to hopefully reunite with his mother. Maybe he'll meet Daryl and Carol on his way there. Okay, Negan wakes up with the child walker on top of him. He's experiencing similar symptoms to Maggie with added hallucinations, offering clever parallels between the nemesis as they put their bodies through hell to save the children they love. And by the way, there was a part in the episode earlier where Negan is, sitting there with Jenny, and she, he's rubbing her hair, and then a little bit of hair falls off into Negan's fingers, and then then Negan all of a sudden hallucinates Lucille, where she's, obviously cancer riddled, and she's losing her hair, but obviously it's still Jenny, but that's what Negan sees. Okay, so he pushes through his pain and makes it to the pediatric ward. The floor is a creepy sight. Oh my goodness, here we go. Child walkers linger in a room it's like they're in a, I don't know, like a frozen state. Like, they're not frozen, but like, this part kind of reminded me of, like, when you play Dying Light, there are several buildings or houses that you get to go into where the infected zombies are like sleeping. That's what that reminded me of, but it's obviously not super dark, so like that with it being children walkers, like, oh my goodness, that reminded me of that trailer for that movie I saw when I went to go see Ballerina, that new horror movie that's coming out called Weapons, where like the children of this town end up disappearing because at 2:17 in the morning they all wake up and then they just vanish, but then they look like they're possessed. And then there's like one creepy shot of that movie where I'm assuming it's the same children, where they are all jumping out of the school windows, and they all are running at somebody or running after somebody. Like, I don't know, that potentially could be a very interesting creepy horror movie, because like possessed children in horror movies, I mean, that is very creepy. That is like I could imagine what they couldn't show in that trailer, right? So, okay, yeah, children walkers linger in a frozen state, like sort of like a Dying Light situation where there are zombies in really dark buildings, but they're like sleeping and you have to sneak through them. Otherwise, you'll wake them up and they'll start trying to kill you. It was kind of like that. It was like, oh my god, right? And they don't realize that Negan is there unless he like bumps into them or disturbs them. They appear to be similar to the doormat walkers seen in season 11 of The Walking Dead. I'm trying to remember. I really need to rewatch season 11 again. It's been a little bit since I rewatched it. I'm trying to remember what episode or episodes had those like doormat walkers where they were like asleep. Like, I'm trying to remember. I don't know, but I'm not gonna harp on it too long. Alright, so we're gonna get back to Maggie and Croat. It's time for Maggie to face her fears of heights or jumping from them. The Croat makes it across the makeshift glass bridge with no problem, obviously, but here comes Maggie. Maggie, on the other hand, needs a dose of courage and a dose of something to wake her ass up, because she is like nodding off. It's like, oh my god, dude. Her skin is thinner than the glass itself. In her defense, it looks unnerving to cross. The glass starts to crack when walkers attack her. The Croat gives stellar advice to diminish the risk of breaking the glass. Maggie needs to spread herself out to distribute the weight. That doesn't do any good when walkers are grabbing at her feet. So Croat leaves. Then he comes back just in time. The Croat hands her a ladder that she grabs a hold of, and she's able to get out of there no problem. Like, holy shit, that is a hell of a time and a wrong time to be passing out, Maggie. Come on now. But it makes for like a tense moment, right? Even though you probably know that Maggie ain't gonna die, maybe she probably realistically should have, but no, there's been more ridiculous shit with this universe. Way more ridiculous. This ain't even close. So now we're gonna get back to Negan. Negan makes it to the operating room where the medicine and supplies are supposedly stashed. Other holes in the wall suggest people have been there before, but someone is already here with Negan. They take the supplies and run. He chases after them through the horde of Walker children that have now woken up. And like when they woke up trying to get to Negan, I was like, holy shit, that reminds me of those possessed children in that Weapons movie jumping through the school windows. Like, oh my god. That was creepy as fuck, dude. Oh my god. Okay. So he chases. Okay, yeah, now the horde of Walker children have woken up. They've woken up. He tackles the raider. I mean, he gets away from him and then he catches up to the person. He tackles the raider, but the bag is empty. The raider turns out not to be one at all, or even a living person, nor a walker. It's a hallucination of Lucille, who happens to be played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan's real life wife again. And this time she's got like a purple wig on. That's something that, that's something that she had a bunch of wigs when she was still alive. And obviously he's overwhelmed with grief, although she reassures him that he took good care of her. The pain pierces his head. He refocuses his attention on Lucille, only to see now that it's Annie, his current wife, and Joshua, his son, but they're just a figment of his imagination, of course, as well. She points him toward a walker that's conveniently beside a machine that he needs. A hallucination of Jenny appears before him, whistling their signal. Now we're going to get back to Maggie and the Croat. Maggie and the Croat arrive at the quote-unquote safe house with Herschel nowhere in sight. This was all just a scheme to reach his old hiding spot. So yeah, Dama never had another safe house. He pretty much tricked Maggie into going to his old hiding spot where his mother's ashes are the whole time. And he was hoping that Maggie, since he got Maggie to go along with him, he was hoping that Maggie would just kill him because he doesn't want to live anymore after what he did to the Dama, and he's still feeling that guilt, so he'd just rather not live at all. And could this potentially be a redemption arc for the Croat? I mean, we'll have to see. I'm going to chalk it up as to a maybe. Maybe. It could turn out not to happen. It could turn out to happen. Maybe he gets killed before that even is a reality. So, The long trip home was always a suicide mission, but he was too scared to take his own life. He needed Maggie to kill him. Maggie herself has the same suicidal thoughts, but he stops her because, okay, yeah, before that, Maggie is pissed and Maggie nearly pushes him off, out the window. Maggie is holding on to Croat by one hand and he's dangling, looking down above, and he's like hoping at that moment, I wish she would just go ahead and drop me, right? But she ends up pulling him back in, and she gets the idea, maybe I should jump because I can't seem to find Herschel. She is so frantically upset that she can't find Herschel nowhere. And, he ends up pulling her back. So, yeah, he ends up stopping her not out of debt, but out of empathy. At night, he tells the story of his mother. She left his family when he was 12, and he spent most of his life looking for her. In a terribly unlucky turn of events, the Croat finds her 2 days after she died, only 10 kilometers from his house. After the outbreak, he planned to take his own life in the same building they're in now until he met the Dama, just just as she did with Herschel. She manipulated the Croat's pain and used it for her own benefit. Maggie sees a flashlight from the New York Times building. Yeah, she sees a light flashing from the New York Times building across the street after his story, and there you go. That's Herschel. That's where Herschel is, because that was a little thing that, Herschel and Maggie had come up with the flashlight. So she instantly knew that, okay, that's got to be Herschel, right? So now we get back to Negan. Negan gets Jenny hooked up to the machine back at the church. He warns Pierce that, okay, Benjamin, he warns Benjamin that Bruegel's people are coming, planning to kill not only Negan but everyone else in the church. If Benjamin wants to live, he better leave now, but Negan can't leave because of Jenny's condition. Listen, I think she's gonna end up dying. Like, to my surprise, she actually didn't die in this episode, but I could see her definitely being a season 2 finale death. I don't see how she makes it to season 3. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't see it at all. So he's got to stand his ground. In his eyes, the only way to do that is to line them all up and kill them all, because according to him, the reason why the sanctuary failed is due to showing his mercy. Mercy isn't exactly what he was giving out at the sanctuary when it came to Glenn, though the Croat and Maggie go their separate ways outside of the New York Times building. She and Herschel reunite. Here we go. This is the ending part that I was talking about. Here we go. So, Maggie and Herschel reunite, but he's a little positive about their future. Maggie soon discovers why. The fucking Dama, that's right, the Dama is still fucking alive. She didn't die. Because here comes the Dama with half her hair burnt off and comes up to Maggie and knocks her the fuck out, and boom. That's the end of the episode. And you can see not only is Dama's hair on that one side half cut off or burnt off, but she's also got some burns on her neck. So, holy shit, man. Oh my goodness. So the Dama is still alive for now. That I did not see coming. So she must have found scissors and just snipped away at her burnt crisp hair. Yeah, so yeah, oh my goodness. Herschel, oh my goodness, boy. And it seems like Herschel knew that Dama was there the whole fucking time. He must have ran into her sometime before he actually got to the New York Times building. I mean, I don't know, because we'll find out if he was surprised that we'll find out if Herschel seemed surprised that the Dama was there. But you know what? I don't think he was. Boy, you know what? You's really selling your mama out to the fucking Dama? Dude, Maggie needs to pick you up, bend you over her knee, and whoop your ass, little boy. She does. Like, holy shit. Now Maggie's gonna stress even more, and now the Dama's still alive, and who knows what Dama's plan is. We got Negan leading the charge. We got Bruegel coming after Negan and the rest of the Bratzi, and he's got to worry about Jenny. Now Herschel has pretty much aligned himself with the fucking Dama, and Maggie is knocked out cold, and it seems like the only person that the Dama can trust right now is fucking Herschel out of everybody. I mean, this is fucking nuts, dude. Like, no, I did not expect the Dama to make it out alive, because we did see a burnt up walker. So she got free, and then she must have killed a walker, and then, put the walker's body there to make it look like she died. I mean, that's obvious at this point. No, I did not see that coming. So, will the Dama die in the season finale? You know what? Let's make some predictions as to who I think is going to die. Number one, I think Jenny, I think she's a goner. I would be surprised if she makes it to season 3. I'm going to say Jenny is a definitely. The Dama, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say she's definitely going to die. And I could see Maggie being the one to kill the Dama. I think that would be satisfying to an extent. I absolutely think that would be satisfying to an extent. Let's see, the Bruegel. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he's not going to die, because they are, I'm going to say no to the Bruegel dying, because they're going to need, if they are planning on making a season 3 of Dead City, they are going to need a villain for season 3. And I think Bruegel would absolutely, we would be able to get more time with the Bruegel in season 3 as the main antagonist. I'm interested to know, will Negan become a full-on villain from this point forward? That one's kind of tough to say. I mean, there's the possibility for it to happen, for sure. Now, I wonder if we'll get to see Annie again, because when Negan was hallucinating Annie, the actual actress for Annie that was in The Walking Dead, she showed up as the hallucination, I feel like we are going to see Annie again, but you know what? Something has to make Negan absolutely go over the edge, okay? If Negan is going to become a full-on villain, something has to happen to where he's going to go absolutely fucking berserk. Either Jenny dying or Annie dying. Or it could be both of them that dies that really sets him fucking off in the finale. Could be a possibility. Man, I gotta say, I absolutely love Dead City Season 2. I did not feel this way about season one. I absolutely fucking love this season, dude. And then the Dama, oh my god, still being alive. Holy shit. So like, oh my goodness. And then I don't think Maggie or Negan, I don't think either one of them is gonna die. Could Armstrong be a possibility of dying? Could be. Maybe. We'll see because I don't know. I don't know if Armstrong is going to end up, allying with the Bruegel, or I don't know if what's left of New Babylon. If they're going to be, if I wonder if New Babylon is going to be coming into this, and maybe he's back with them. I don't know, but I could see Armstrong possibly dying. I think. Oh, the Croat. Let's talk about the Croat. Could I see the Croat die? I'm gonna go. That's a tough one because it seems like they're attempting a redemption arc with the Croat, but maybe they're gonna go back on that in the next episode. I'm gonna say it's gonna. You know what? I'll say yes. I think the Croat will be dying. As to by who, could it be Bruegel? Could it be Negan? Could it be Dama looking for revenge against Croat for almost getting her killed? It's certainly possible. But I wonder what Dama's plan is going to be because it seems like everybody has turned against her except for Herschel, which is like, Jesus Christ. Herschel, I don't know, dude. I don't know if there's no redeeming Herschel. I don't know, dude. We'll find out next week, but holy shit. The fact that Dama was alive, like, that was crazy. Definitely the most shocking part of the episode, without a doubt. And then the part with the children, walkers in the hospital, that was creepy as hell as well. So, yeah, I think Jenny is going to definitely die. I see the Dama definitely dying. Maybe Maggie takes Dama out. Now, Jenny, that's a tricky one because I could see Bruegel potentially killing her, or her infection is going to get the better of her. It's going to be one of the two with Jenny. I could see Maggie killing Dama. I could see that being a possibility. And then Armstrong, a possibility. But I think Jenny and Dama are definitely goners for sure. And you know what? I'll throw Croat in there as a potential goner, but maybe he could somehow outlive Dama and then maybe be in season 3. I don't know. We'll see. But it was a pretty okay episode. I mean, we had some crazy things happen, but that season finale, yeah, that's going to be pretty freaking crazy. We got Negan, Maggie, Herschel, Dama, Croat, Bruegel, potentially New Babylon coming in on this as well. As to who their leader is going to be, could it potentially be Armstrong? Could it be Armstrong, or could he be allied with Bruegel? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on this episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. And if you're new, welcome on in for the very first time. I'm glad to have your support and thank you for your time. I am Buck Beak, and I'm going to go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.